Hey, Shalom. Kal halalim la Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kodash. All praises, honor, glory, and blessings and power be to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, elder bishops of Great Millstone that rule well. And Shalom to the prophets of that body, and Shalom to the 144,000 and one third. May peace and blessings and the spirit of endurance be upon you and your households as we approach the end. I've touched on this uh, beautiful subject before. Okay. It was just after, not that we celebrate birthdays, it's just after my 40th year of being on this earth, this earthly plane, all right, in this flesh, for being mercy, I believe, right? And it was a vision, I believe it was of Yahweh Shai, okay? And as you know, the son looks like his father, right? And the Lord is on the right hand side of the Most High Yahweh, Yahweh wa Yahweh Shai. Okay. And there's also something else as well. I felt that's happened in the last 48 hours or so. It was a strong feeling. I think it was on the 3rd of July or the 4th of July. A real strong feeling. Wow, 144. There's a strong feeling of like something ticking over. I don't know. It was like more faith being built, more 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 like more leverage in the faith aspect, more leverage in the fact that our kingdom is coming soon. I can't describe it, but it was a positive feeling. And then Priest Kazak, of GMS Mississippi, made a video, I believe, within the same time frame, or maybe just before I did. And because I always watch Priest Kazak's videos, one of my favorite teachers, of GMS Mississippi. Uh, he even said that the faith, I believe one of the videos is faith is changing the world, right? The elect's faith, whoever the elect are at this moment in time, we're the hopeful elect. Okay. So there's a whole bunch of things on my mind, but I wanted to touch on the fact that, you know, that the Lord is very real, and also the record of His Majesty, Yahweh Shai, and the both, the Most High, Yahweh, why Yahweh Shai, their description is within the Holy Bible, right? So therefore, you know, you have to believe the record that is left of the Most High Son. So when the Lord does return, we know what to look out for. Okay, we know what our King looks like. We know, how in what kind of manner He will return, and we know what He's coming to do. Right? And it is definitely not to hand out roses or lollipops, okay? Or daffodils and, none of that, okay? The Lord is coming to protect and beam up the elect, okay, the Israelites. And also the Lord, His Majesty Yahweh Shai, is coming to do a lot of damage as well, all right? But I'm just going to go into how the Lord looked, which I would say this is the closest depiction of His Majesty when I had a vision, right? It was, by the way, it was during the summer as well. Oh, 414, Brakti Abashim Ashai. Okay, it was during the summer as well, after my 40th. It was in June, by the way, as well. Yeah, it was in June, okay? Because that's when summertime, springtime, life springs forth, right? And, yeah, because I'm a May baby. I was born in May. So, yeah, so I believe it was around about June-ish time from memory, okay? And let's go to some scriptures before I go into the vision. Okay. All right. You got a lot of our people saying that, It doesn't matter what the Lord looks like. It's all about the spirit. Okay. But the Lord has a body. Okay. All right. His Majesty Yahweh Shai, even the Most High, has a body. Okay. All right. Which is mentioned in the book of Daniel. All right. So therefore, there's a record left of Yahweh, why Yahweh Shai, what they look like. You can't just worship anything blindly. Hence the reason why people have that same sentiment today. Oh, it doesn't matter what the Lord looks like. Okay, if it doesn't matter what the Lord looks like, why are you worshiping a so-called white man? Who is this Caesar Borgia you're worshiping? This stringy-haired cracker who looks like a heroin addict off the streets of London, who hasn't had a haircut for like damn near a year. Okay, some kind of a BG reject, right? Who is that you worship? If it doesn't matter what the Lord looks like, why are you worshiping an Edomite, a so-called white man? All right, it does matter what the Lord looks like. That's why a lot of you, right, you 2/3, and you heathens, we don't give a shit about the heathen anyway, but you 2/3 are gonna gravitate towards Project Bluebeam because they're probably gonna show Caesar Borgia coming out the sky, fake chariots and all that, and some of their real chariots combined because they've they've got their own sort of flying discs or so-called UFOs which they power themselves. Okay, but we know what to look out for because we know Esau has a technology, and we know they've got Project Bluebeam. So a lot of you are going to fall for the lie, but the elect are not gonna, because the elect are sealed, and the Lord is going to give them particular gifts of faith and belief and believing in the scriptures and also visions and dreams, which is going to solidify their faith even more securely, right? And before I even got a vision of the Lord, right, I always believed in the Most High power before I knew I was an Israelite. I always believed before I knew I was an Israelite. I always believed in Yahushua being a so-called black man before I even had a vision of the Lord. When I started to learn about the truth from the men of the Lord, the men of Great Millstone in its entirety. All right. So Tawari Yahweh Bashim Yashai and Tawari Yahweh Bashim Yashai for his men that teach the hopeful elect. Okay. Now, how are you going to know when the Son of Man is coming? We know because we know what our King looks like. Right? We know. But the rest of you don't know. All right. Matthew 24:30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. That's why they keep showing the movie Knowing. Knowing is on YouTube right now. Knowing, and what's the other one? Independence Day. A whole bunch of spiritual power, type movies, and Superman and Supergirl coming out, because they're trying to get you people primed, because these kinds of things are going to be here. They're going to be here. They're going to be right in front of your face. You're going to see Israelite elect men flying. You're going to see spiritual power. You're going to see chariots, and you're going to see a so-called black man on top of that chariot, man. Okay, you're going to see. Hey, the phone had to chime in. Okay, you're going to see a so-called black man on top of that chariot. You're going to see Yahweh Shai. Okay, and Yahweh Shai looks just like his pop, our Father in heaven, Yahweh. Okay, all right. Don't people say that? Hey, man, you look just like your dad. Man, you got the same features as your dad, or man, your hair texture is just like your dad. People say that. Just like father, like son, right? Well, Yahweh Bahashim Yahshai, Yahweh Shai just looks like, Yahweh, man. Exactly the same way. All right? Let's go to Revelation 1:7. Revelation 1:7. Behold, he cometh with clouds. What are those clouds? Those chariots, those so-called UFOs. That's why they're bringing out all this information over the last couple of years, okay, about chariots and all the information, the Space Force. Why would Esau Edom, the so-called white man, put billions into Space Force if it's some BS, or if it's just some, just some make-believe stuff for the entertainment of children? Why would they spend so much money in that particular area? It's because they've always had the Space Force and they're just letting you know about it now because they're preparing to fight Yahushua when he returns because Esau Edom knows they're going into slavery. Okay? They know what to look out for. Why do you think they put so much hell on you Israelites, you so-called blacks and Hispanics and natives? Why? Because they know you are amongst you are the elect. All right? But the elect are also hidden amongst other nations where they look like other nations. So the Israelites cannot be destroyed because the Lord will always, they are elect members that look like other nations. Okay? Men, babies, right? Male babies, young men, older men. Okay? So the men are there and they look like other nations. They've been cloaked, they've been made covert, right? I'll say that, right? So therefore, the seed line can carry on of the Israelites. So even though Esau is not going to get rid of all the so-called visible Israelites that look so-called black or Hispanic or Native Indian, but there's Israelites scattered to the four corners of the earth. Deuteronomy 28 verse 64. Okay? So the elect cannot be taken away. All right? Revelation 1 and 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. And they also which pierced him, and all the kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, Amen. Okay? And the elect have been woken up to know what to look for and what their king looks like. Right? Let's go to Revelation 1 verse 1. All right. The revelation of Yahushua HaMashiach, which the Most High gave unto him to shew unto his servants. Oh yeah, what I was saying was that Esau is trying to get all that's why Esau comes so heavy on you Israelites, man. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives. You keep thinking, oh, they don't like us because we're black, or they don't like us because we got big noses, or they don't like us because whatever. No, they know you have rulership next, and obviously that jealousy between Esau and Jacob is was always there. All right, hence the reason why they try and keep taking you out. But the Lord is preserving his elect, and the Lord has given his elect spiritual confirmation, and some of them also visions and dreams of what he looks like. So we, the hopeful elect, know what to look out for. Okay, and also this is recorded in the book of Revelation. Right, I'm going to read it right now. Revelation of Yahushua HaMashiach, which the Most High gave unto him to shew unto his servants things which must surely come to pass, and he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John. Okay, and I believe that's Yawan in the Lashon Kodash, the name John. Lord willing, I'm saying that correctly. Verse 3. Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand, and indeed it is. Okay, I'm just going to go through the core points. I mean, it's all core points, but I'm just going to go to okay, you know what? Let me just read that again. He sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John. Verse 2, who bear record of the word of the Most High, Yahweh, and of the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach, and all things that he saw. Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. Let's read Revelations 1 and 7 again. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, Amen. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, saith the Lord Yahushua, which is, and which was, and which is to come, the Almighty. I, John, who also am your brother and companion in tribulation, and in the kingdom and patience of Yahushua HaMashiach, was in the isle that is called Patmos, for the word of the Most High Yahweh, and for the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach. I was in, verse 10, I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day, which is a Shabbat, I believe, right? I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day, and heard behind me a great voice as of a trumpet. Verse 11, saying, I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last, and And what thou seest, write in a book, and send it unto the seven churches which are in Asia, unto Ephesus, and unto Smyrna, and unto Pergamos, and unto Thyatira, and unto Sardis, and unto Philadelphia, and unto Laodicea. Verse 12, and I turned to see the voice that spake with me, and being turned, I saw seven golden candlesticks. And in the midst of the seven candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. Verse 14, his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. Verse 15, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice like the sound of many waters. Okay? He had his head and his hairs were white like wool. His beard, his hair, afro. Okay, hence the reason why it's given the color, which is a sheep's wool could be like a grayish and whitish, sometimes all white, and it's also the texture. So hence the term white like wool, because the Lord's hair is like afro. Okay, as white as snow. Okay, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, all that wisdom and power. Okay, and his feet like unto fine brass. The Lord Yahushua had not had the Lord Yahushua. I mean, let me say that again. His head and his hairs were white like wool. The Lord didn't have these, have white hair or have eyes of flame of fire, or have eyes as the flame of fire. The Lord has it. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. The Lord has these. The Lord looks this way. Okay, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. Okay, meaning the Lord has brown skin. Okay, but as if they were as if skin like brass, as if like brass, as if they burned in a furnace, meaning very dark skinned, like a beautiful glowing chocolate Hershey or a Cadbury's chocolate milk, not a dark chocolate sort of skin tone, but glowing, real clean unblemished skin, like that, clean, just beautiful, unblemished, glowing brown skin, like that, and his voice as a sound of many waters. Okay, you even hear the likes of James Earl Jones, even though he's a Jake of the world. I believe he's passed on. That's why they used him as Darth Vader. Okay, because of his masculine voice, and they say that so-called black people are loud, right? And if you know about Darth Vader and how they're trying to put the truth into Star Wars and all that, if you know, right? I'm not going to go into that right now. Okay, Darth Vader meaning Dark Father. Okay, all right, but hence the reason why they use the so-called black man for that. Okay, and then they say so-called black people are loud, and then they use King James Earl Jones to narrate the Bible. Also, they use an actual Israelite to narrate the Bible with his masculine, deep voice. Okay, you hear his voice, and he's a Jake of the world. How much more? I mean, even like even bodybuilders like Larry Wheels, you hear his voice. That's a Jake and his big ass deep voice, right? And these are people of the world, right? Jakes that are sold out, right? And how much more Jakes on the right hand side that have got those deep voices, and how much more our King? Okay, all right. How much more our King, who's got that real deep voice, man? Don't they say so-called black people are loud? So the Lord has a very powerful voice. Okay, not like this Jeebus they show you in these movies. Okay, where they show like a fag walking around with long hair. Oh, thou art this and thou art that. La la la. Real soft and feminine voice. That's not the Lord. The Lord is very austere. The Lord is very fierce looking. The Lord is very, comely and very masculine looking. Okay? All right? And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice as a sound of many waters. Like a river or like a ocean making noise, and like a waterfall. It's really loud, isn't it? Right? Okay. Verse 16. And he said in his right hand, and he had in his right Salakia, and he had in his right hand 7 stars, and out of his mouth went up Salakia, and he had in his right hand 7 stars, and out of his mouth went a sharp 2-edged sword, and his countenance was as the sun shineth in his strength. Okay. Now, when I had the vision or dream, okay, I fell asleep. Okay, I was tired, came back from work, right? And my son was in the room with me. He was a little bit young at the time. He's playing a game he's playing one of them games, you know what children play, and I fell asleep, you know, um, and I fell asleep, and then I had this. Let me go to an image, man. All right, I had this. I'm trying to find an image that looks similar to it. Okay, okay, let me see. The Lord is wearing a white garment, though. Let's just say similar to that, right? Similar to how the Lord looks there, right? Or like that, with a white garment, you know. And so when the Lord came, the Lord is holding his hand, right? Okay, it was like the most beautiful. It wasn't like a hazy dream or where I can partially remember, you know. I could see the Lord. Okay, let me see if I can find a picture. Let me see if I find a better. Yeah, how should I? Let's go to this one, right? I think this one is close to the vision that I had. Okay, the only difference was the Lord had on a golden war belt, and from memory, it had a lion in the middle, and the colors were more vibrant than this. It was like, man, from memory, I was like, I believe I saw a rainbow in there, and like lots of vibrance and blues and yellows and just really bright, man. It was just like a beautiful world, right? And it was so clear. It was just so vibrant. It's like not the beautiful bright colors you see in this world. It was like just a different vibration, right? And the Lord was holding his right hand out, okay? And I was like flying towards the Lord, right? And then as I was about to grab the Lord's hand, I woke up, okay? And in the vision, right, I could see the white afro. Okay, it was blatantly clear, and the eyes were glowing. Okay, all I could see was the brown skin and the brown skin underneath the eyes, but the eyes were just completely glowing. I couldn't see the Lord's features completely clear, but I saw the afro, I saw the brown skin, dark brown skin of a so-called black man. I saw a white beard, I saw a white garment, I saw a golden war belt, and the garment was down to the foot. The Lord is holding his hand out, his right hand. Okay, and I was floating or flying towards the Lord. Okay, and the Lord said, "Are you ready for the kingdom?" That's what the words were in English. Are you ready for the kingdom? And I woke up out of it, and I was pacing. When I woke up out of it, I was so happy. I was pacing back and forth like a madman, with just giddiness and happiness, and it's like I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it, and I was shouting it out, and my son was looking at me like, "Dad, what's going on?" Right? You know, I didn't shout it too loud because I was, neighbors would have called the damn police. But I was like, I was in a real giddy mood, man. I was in a really, really, really giddy mood. Okay, let me see the definition of giddy. I don't want to say, all right, I don't want to say the wrong word. Giddy mood. Ah, here we are. Okay, giddy, feeling silly, happy, and excited, showing this in your behavior. Okay, I wasn't behaving silly. I was feeling happy and excited. Okay, I'll say that. All right, I'll say that. And it was just an amazing vision, a dream. It was like, man, the Lord chose me to give me this beautiful vision and dream, just to, oh, how about 444. Okay, this beautiful vision and dream, just to see Him, man. You know, and I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. And Thwadi Yahabashimashai, man, for that. you know and it's also And I know a lot of the hopeful elect have had this or seen it, or but different. Every member of the hopeful elect is going to have their different visions and dreams and different ways they're going to be confirmed and solidified in the faith and belief what Yahweh Bahashem Yahshai look like. And so they know what to look out for. Either they're going to believe the scriptures and have be solidified in the faith that way, or they're going to have faith and the Lord's going to give visions and dreams, or that they're going to be solidified in the faith, the Lord's going to have angels visit them. Everyone's going to have that real confirmation of faith because they believe the Lord gave them a little, not a little reward, as a bit, the Lord gave them a reward, saying, you know what, I'm going to go visit my son, or I'm going to go visit my child, or I'm going to visit one of my sheep, and the Lord did that, man. The Lord did that. Okay. And the Lord said to me, are you ready for the kingdom? When I woke up out of it, I said, oh man, Lord, why did you wake me up? I said, why did you wake me up? I was about to grab his hand, and he said, are you ready for the kingdom? And then after that, the Lord woke me up out of it. I said, oh Lord, why did you wake me up? And then I thought to myself, okay, we're still in this dimension. We've got to go through what we got to go through until we get to the end, until the Lord returns. But it was such a beautiful, beautiful vision, man. All right. And now that I'm thinking about it, man, I'm just, beautiful, man. Let's go to Daniel 10:5-6. Okay. Daniel 10:5. Then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with the fine gold of Uphaz. Okay. Like that golden war belt. And the Lord, I believe, was wearing linen. Not that I felt the garment, but obviously the Lord's going to wear linen in it, right? His body also was like the beryl, and his face as appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire. See, in the vision, the Lord is wearing a white garment, all right? And his eyes were as lamps of fire, okay? And his feet like in the color to polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude, okay? Obviously, when the Lord spoke to me, he wasn't shouting. It was like a real deep voice from memory, okay? And the Lord is wearing a white garment. The Lord wasn't wearing a beryl garment. The Lord is wearing a white garment. Not that the Lord can't wear a beryl garment, okay? But in this case, the Lord is wearing a white garment. And I believe it was a white garment, white afro, white beard, brown skin, glowing eyes like lamps of fire, okay? So it was like partially covering the Lord's face, but I could see there was a so-called black man, and his beautiful brown hand holding it out, the right hand holding his hand out, and he had a golden war belt on. Like a golden belt. That's what the Lord looked like, and linen, right? White garments, because the elect are going to be wearing white garments, right? So I believe when the elect are gathered up, and when we see the Lord will more than likely be wearing. We'll see when the time comes, but that day when we're in front of the Lord, if it's the Lord's will that you're chosen, all the elect will be wearing white garments, and the Lord will be wearing a white garment, right? And by the way, I'm still learning, okay? But the Lord, that was the vision of the Lord, man. All right. Okay. As plus it's also a great confirmation in your mind, and also for the elect. Because remember another thing as well. I didn't grow up in the truth. I didn't grow up with the Bible. I didn't grow up in so-called Christianity, wacky tacky Christianity. Okay, I'm an Israelite foreigner from a different part of the world, northern India. So this is the Lord really blessed me, man, in these areas, and so therefore this is just another confirmation in my spirit, in the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Mashai. We know what to look out for when the Lord returns. Okay, we know what to look out for. All right. Let's see where else I need to go. Okay, so I just made this video just to sort of touch on the vision, also what the Lord looks like, and the fact that it matches up with the scriptures. Okay, and so who is this Jesus fella then? Who is that person? Why does he not match the record that the Lord left of his son? Okay. All right, let's go to First John 5 and 10. He that believeth on the Son of the Most High hath witness in himself. He that believeth not the Most High hath made him a liar, because he believeth not the record that the Most High gave of his Son. So a lot of you two-thirds out there that are, staunch so-called Christians, wacky-tacky Christians, Romans 10 verse 2, okay? Let me go there quickly. Romans 10 verse 2. Romans 10 verse 2, for I bear them record that they have a zeal of the Most High, but not according to knowledge. Okay? A lot of you unelect, maybe, some of you are the elect and the Lord will bring you out of it. But a lot of you unelect are staunch so-called wacky-tacky Christians, but you don't believe the record that the Lord left of his Son. You still keep saying that, it doesn't matter what he looks like. So what are you going to look out for? So you're going to believe anything, right, that Esau spins? That's why a lot of you got vaccinated when the C19 thing came out, because you believe Esau Edom. The elect did not get vaccinated or VAX'd during the 19 thing a few years ago, right? The elect know what to look out for. All right. Go to First John again. All right. He that believeth on the Son of the Most High, Yahweh, hath the witness in himself. He that believeth not the Most High hath made him a liar, because he believeth not the record that the Most High gave of his Son. And the Lord said that he's not a man that he should lie. So therefore, this is you two-thirds, you unelect, you don't believe the record that you've made you calling the Most High a liar, and the Lord said he's not a man that he should lie. Okay? And we elect believe. We hope for elect believe. Okay? I believed before even I had the vision of what the Lord looks like. Verse 11, and this is the record that the Most High gave. And this is the record that the Most High hath given us. And this is the record that the Most High hath given to us, eternal life. And this life is in his Son. He that hath the Son hath life. And he that hath not the Son hath not life. Okay? So you people that don't believe, you don't have life, man. All right? The hopeful elect have life. And we rest in Yahweh Shai, man. Every single day I get up and I say, oh shit, here we go again in this hell. All right. But, I just meditate on Yahweh Shem Shai. Cast your burdens to Yahweh Shem Shai. You cast your burdens upon the Lord. He shall not suffer the righteous to be moved. All right. The Lord cares for us. So you pray to the Lord and you let the Lord deal with it. But you do your due diligence and take your steps on your end to start the process. And you just put everything in Yahweh Shem Shai. The Lord just makes it work out for you. So we believe in the Lord, man. All right. What are you people going to look out for when the Lord returns? You're going to believe Project Bluebeam. That's what you're going to believe. All right. Just bear with me. Okay. So I'm going to leave it there now. All praises, honor, glory, and blessings and power be to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak Wadash. All right. So I would say this is a brother Manatazak Benyamian who makes us beautiful videos. Right. This was the vision that I had. You know, I thought it could have been an angel, but I don't believe so because my mind was racing back and forth that specific day. It was Yahweh Shai, plus the golden war belt, you know, and plus the eyes were really completely just glowing, right? And that also signifies the lamps of fire as well, you know. So therefore, it was just a beautiful blessing. All right. So will the real Lord stand up? you know, what I'm saying is, you believe spiritually, but the Lord has an actual body as well. All right. Okay. The Lord has an actual body as well. Actually, before I finish up, let me just read the description of Yahweh as well, so you know that it was. That's not, all right. That even the Most High, okay, has a body, right? Daniel 7 verse 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. Okay, so if you're wearing a garment, do you not have a body? Okay, if you have a hair that's like wool, like an afro, do you not have a head? Okay, does the Most High not have a beard? Okay, and his throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. Okay, that's the description of the Most High. So the Most High, so Yahweh Shai looks just like his father, man, his pop. Okay, our Most High power in heaven, Yahweh. Okay, so Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Okay, they look very similar. They look the same. Okay, all right. So you're gonna say, oh yeah, we got to believe spiritually. So that means anybody can turn up, right? Someone with three heads saying that they're Jebus, you're gonna believe that. All right. So Esau can do anything to you, unelect, which they're gonna do anyway. But the elect are sealed, okay, because they believe in the record that the Most High left of His Son. They believe the Most High, that He left of Himself, the record that He left of Himself, and also the record that's left of His Son. All right. So so the Lord's got a body as well. All right, and the Lord has a description, and the Lord left this record for the elect, so we know what to look out for. All right. And all praises, honor, glory, and blessings and power be to Yahweh Bashem Ashai, Bashem Makakudash, Mawathabad Babal, Kwam Yashwala, Shalom.